I'm Mike Lairson, author of books on CRM On Demand reporting. Today I'm going to demonstrate the use of null or negative reporting in CRM On Demand. This requires a combined analysis, which is by far the subject on which I receive the most questions. Because of the nature of the relational database, if you were to report on certain objects that do not have a direct relationship, you can inadvertently filter out records because of the presence of a null value on one side of the relationship. A good example of this is the relationship between accounts and campaigns. Accounts may or may not have a source campaign associated, so when reporting on accounts and including the campaign name in the report, the results may not include accounts without a source campaign. Let's begin by creating a simple report of all of our accounts, and we will go ahead and include some additional account information such as industry and address fields. Notice I have applied no filters, so this report will return all of the accounts in our database. When I preview the report, I see we have 61 accounts listed. Now I will go back and add the campaign name to the report. Notice that I started with only columns from my primary record type of account. This is important to establish that baseline of 61 accounts, because when we add the campaign name and check our results again, we suddenly only have 54 records in my report. This is a clear indication that a null report is necessary in order to include all 61 accounts in this report along with the campaign name. So in order to show accounts with a campaign along with accounts without a campaign, I need to merge a list of accounts with campaigns and a list of accounts without campaigns. The report, as currently configured, gives me my account with campaigns list. So next I need to determine how I can get a list of accounts without campaigns. I know I can get all accounts in the list if I take out the campaign name column. And obviously I can get the accounts with campaigns, so in order to get the difference, I just have to subtract those with campaigns from the list of all accounts, leaving only those without campaigns. Expanding the Advanced section and clicking the Combine with Similar Analysis button allows me to add a new criteria report using a selected subject area. Notice that the newly added criteria report does not yet contain any columns, but there are placeholders for each column in the original report. This is important because each criteria report must contain the same number of columns, and each column in the same position across criteria must be of the same data type. I find the easiest way to ensure I am adding the same fields to each criteria is with a little copy and paste. Rather than clicking in each column, I copy the original report criteria and paste in the copy. So with this second criteria, I need to return all accounts. In order to get all accounts, I know I need to remove the campaign name column. Of course, I cannot actually remove the column because that would violate the rule stating that each criteria must have the same number of columns. In order to remove the campaign name without actually removing the column, I will replace the campaign name formula with a literal null value using two single quote marks. So now I have two criteria reports, one returning all accounts with campaigns and the other returning all accounts with a null in the campaign name column. Next, we want to remove the rows where the account has a campaign associated. For this, we need one more criteria report using the minus set operator. This criteria should include all accounts with a campaign, but we will leave the null literal in the campaign name column. The minus set operator will remove any row that appears in both criteria inclusive of every column. In other words, if the values in every column of a row in each criteria match, then the row will not be included in the combined result. So I'm going to copy the first criteria again and paste it in after the second criteria. I will then change the set operator between the second and third criteria to minus. Now I want to ensure that this third criteria only includes records with a campaign. But I need to replace the campaign name with a null so that the columns match the second criteria and minus from the results properly. I will do this by adding a filter to the third criteria to ensure that the campaign name field is not null. Then I will replace the formula in the campaign name column with a literal null using 2 single quotes. Now, when we run the report, we are back up to all 61 accounts being present, and those records without a campaign appear with a null value in the campaign name column. I hope you find this tutorial useful and invite you to email me at ondemandreporting@gmail.com with your suggestions for future videos. Please subscribe to this channel so you'll not miss any CRM On Demand reporting tips.